Another imaginative version was that the animal prayers to the tiger heaven had achieved a response in the shape of Raja Begum. He was to be the instrument to punish me. The astonished beeped, so insulting to the entire tiger species. A furless, fangless man daring to challenge a claw-armed, sturdy-limbed tiger. The force of concentrated venom of all humiliated tigers, the villagers declared, had gathered momentum sufficient to operate hidden laws and bring about the fall of proud tiger tamer. My servant further appraised me that the prince was in his element as manager of the bout between man and beast. He had supervised the erection of a storm-proof pavilion designed to accommodate thousands. Its center held Begum in an enormous iron cage, surrounded by an outer safety room. The captive emitted a ceaseless series of blood-curdling roars. He was fed sparingly to kindle a worthful appetite. Perhaps the prince expected me to be the meal of reward. Crowds from the city and suburbs brought tickets eagerly in the response to the beat of drums announcing the unique contest. The day of battle saw hundreds turned away from lack of seats. Many men broke through the tent opening and crowded any space below the galleries. As the Tiger Swami story approached a climax, my excitement mounted with it. Chandi also was rapidly mute. Amidst piercing sound explosion from Raja Begum and the hubbub of the terrified crowd, I quietly made my appearance. Scantily clad around the waist, I was otherwise unprotected by cloth. I opened the bolt of the door of the safety room and calmly locked it behind me. The tiger sneezed blood. Leaping with thunderous crash on the bars, he sent forth a ferocious welcome. The audience was hushed with pitiful fear. I seemed a meek lamb before the raging beast. In a trice, I was within the cage, but as I slanked the door, Rajam Begum was headlong upon me. My right hand was desperately thrown. Human blood was the greatest treat a tiger can know. Fell in appealing stream. The prophecy of the saint seemed about to be fulfilled. I railed instantly from the shock of the first serious injury I had ever received. Banishing the sight of my glory fingers by trussing them beneath my waistcloth, I swung my left arm in a bone-cracking blow. The beast reared back, shivered around the rear of the cage, and sprang forward convulsively. My famous fatigue punishment rained on his head. But Raja Begum's taste of blood had acted like the maddening first sip of wine to a despotic long disappeared. My inadequate defense of only one hand left me vulnerable before claws and fangs. But I dealt out dazzling retribution, mutually extinguished, which struggled as to death. The cage was pandemonious as blood splashed in all directions, and blast of pain and lethal lust came from the bitter throat. Shoot him! Kill the tiger! Shriek arose from the audience. So fast did man and beast move that a guard's bullet went amiss. I murmured all my wit will force, bellowed wrestling, and landed a final conclusive blow. The tiger collapsed and lay quietly. Like a pussy cat, I interjected. The Swami laughed in hearty appreciation, then continued the engrossing tale. Raja Begum was vanquished at last. His royal pride was further humbled. With my lathered hand and audaciously forced open his jaws. For a dramatic moment, I held my hand within the wanging deep trap. I looked around for a chain. Pulling one from the pile on the floor, I bounded the tiger by his neck to the cage bars. In tramp, I moved toward the door. But that fine, incarnate Raja Begum had stamina worthy to his support demonic origin. With an incredible lunge, he snapped the chain and leaped on my back. My shoulder fast in his jaws, I fell violently. But in a trice, I had him pinned beneath me. Under merciless blows, the tyrannous back animal shrunk into semi-consciousness. This time, I secured him more carefully. Slowly, I left the cage. I found myself in new uproar. This time, one of the delight, the crowd's cheers broke as though from a single gigantic throat. Dishonoringly molded, I had yet fulfilled the three conditions of the fight: stunning the tiger, binding him with a chain, and leaving him without requiring assistance for myself. In addition, I had so dramatically injured and frightened the aggressive beast that he had been content to overlook the opportune prize of my head in his mouth. After my wounds had been treated, I was honored and garlanded. Many gold pieces were showered in my feet. The whole city entered a holiday period. Endless discussions were heard on all sides about my victory over one of the largest and most savage tigers ever seen. Raja Begum was presented to me as promised, but I felt no elation. A spiritual change had entered my heart. It seemed that with my final exit from the cage, I had also closed the door on my worthily ambitious. A woeful period followed. A 6 month I lay near the death from blood poisoning. As soon as I was well enough to leave the Koch Bihar, I returned to my native town. I know how that my teacher is the holy man who gave the wise warning. I humbly made this confession to my father. Oh, if I could only find him, my longing was sincere, for one day the saint arrived unhurriedly. Enough of tiger taming, he spoke with calm assurance. Come with me. I will teach you to subdue the beast of ignorance roaring in jungle of human mind. You are used to an audience. Let it be at a gallery of angels entertained by your thrilling mastery of yoga. I was initiated into spiritual path by my saintly guru. He opened my soul doors, rustly and resistant with long disuse. Hand in hand, we soon set out for my training in the Himalayas. Chandi and I bowed at the Swami's feet, grateful for this outline of a cyclonic life. My friend and I felt amply repaid for the long probationary wait in the cold parlor.